Ah, I'm so tired today. I didn't even, like, get that little sleep last night. I don't know. I don't know why I'm so tired today. But I am, but I still really wanna stream, so I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Let's have a disastrous fucking thing. How are you all? Oh, hi, and all that jazz. It's me, Aya, the digital rabbit video Bacchus. Plays lots of different things. Hello, zero patience. There we go, Shadowverse. Shadowverse. Shadowverse, also kind of VB. That makes sense. This is Saturday. They announced card changes, and a bunch of people are upset because there wasn't any nerfs, and there was just some buffs to underperform it to Puppet Portal mainly, and tiny little buff to Dragoncraft overall. And people are like, oh, they didn't nerf Cresthaven or Runecraft, and it's like, I might rant about this after after I've done the tournament, but it's like when there's more people around and thusly other things. But yeah, let's get into the weekend lobby tournament. There's another Shadowverse World Beyond, the digital card game made by those Cygames people. They make the game that's about the horses that everyone's talking about. Which means eventually the horses will find their way into this game. Inevitable. Cygames loves putting crossovers with all their stuff in there. And every weekend it does this cool little lobby tournament thing that you can participate in and get cool rewards. I am going to participate in with mid-range Abysscraft. It is a deck that simply says, fuck you, I have value. Doesn't really have any of the endgame plan, any of the fancy win cons like or fancy effects like Modal Abyss does. It has a lot of the cards, but mostly because they're just really good individual value cards themselves. Just like, yeah, one mode is fine. I'll take a 4 that does 3 damage or heals me, and also does that on Evo. I'll take 2 4/4 rushes for 5, or 2 4/4 wards for 5, or even more if I want to spend a super Evo. I'll take a 7 play.55 storm. They're just good cards. And in the current meta, a lot of them are just very useful, like this guy. This guy who summons 2 running zombies is just an absolute pain in the ass for one of the more annoying decks in the meta. So it's very fun to annoy them back. And sometimes you just play a 2 play.33 and kill your opponent way too fast. But we'll be using that for this lobby tournament. And hopefully I will get many delicious prizes. Hmm.
エントリーありがとうございます。この大会では
This is
頑張ってくださ
the
いね。
adorable Yuri.
ファイト。それでは楽しいシャドバライフを。
Yeah, we have a little lobby tournament with all these nerds we get to battle against. Look at them. We could even go play soccer, but we're not going to because of that. Just very, very likely. Hi, Mona. Just in time for the start of the tournament. It's boobcraft time, I wish. I guess there's a reasonable amount of boobs in mid-range Abysscraft. Unfortunately, mid-range doesn't run Insetsu and Yuzuku, because they're a bit too slow for this kind of deck and not usually worth it. But it does have a reasonable amount of moves. Unfortunately, I don't have Cerberus, so I am forced to use a sassy twink.
勘弁してよ、戦闘なんて。
Okay, well,
Game
this start is terrible. Get rid of all of these. Much better. Hopefully I can draw another 2 play points so I can follow up this barrel. Against Havencroft, the primary way to beat Havencroft is just to be incredibly aggressive. People are like, oh, Crest Haven's so powerful, they can heal for 10. They can't heal for 10 if they don't get to 5 crests. And they have surprise. Oh, okay, this one's one of the ones that actually is running the tech. Okay.
悪夢をどうぞ。
So this is the tech card specifically to help them in this situation where they risk getting run over by Beryl. And also helps them just have a slightly less weak early game. It gives them a full. But the question is, do they want to? If they activate it, can they play anything else? They need to spend 1 to have it pop now, and that would take out my barrel. Oh, they're not. They're putting a ward in the way. First, interesting. Okay. In that case, I'm going to. Do have to do. Yeah, I'll do it this way. It's not particularly great, but it preserves as much of my board whilst also pushing the most damage. I really could do with a card I could play next turn though. They'll probably trade just, yeah. That makes sense. Pop the Devotee in the way. Devotee doesn't activate because they attack this turn. Oh, Ghastly Soiree, you will do. They can use the Ghost to remove this guy. Zero Fall's not that much of a bother, we can just bonk this and go face. They'll probably want to Marwyn this turn, which means which generally means they won't be dealing with, yeah, they'll Marwyn Evo, and then it's just a matter of a question of, are they going to swing to deal with it? If they swing to deal with the devious Lesser Mummy. No, they'll wait. Which is fine by me. I will just Gavi. Evolve for damage and getting rid of that Marwyn. They'll probably take some damage next turn. They probably have quite an easy way to clear off both of these quite quickly, but then next turn I get to set up Undead Soldier. Yeah, we got them to Madison Benison when they don't have, without full crests. Excellent. We still have the banish, so we can't really rely on, okay, so I'm taking damage, which is bad. But, yeah, Undead Soldier, there's almost no way they can get damage through past this Undead Soldier. They might try and banish. This will force out them using one of their Marwyn banishes anyway. Oh no! Okay. So we've got Wilbert in play. They'll take 10 next turn, but unless I can top deck... So what I need to do here is top deck fucking... Oh, I didn't top deck Odin. That would have just killed them. Would have been very funny if I top deck Odin in this point. So, given that, I think I want to... Olivia... This is slightly annoying. I can't exactly... Yeah, that's not going to help me get through, which is slightly annoying. I'll just continue to make... Or even this doesn't Oh no, this does work. I'll need to play point out this ghost, which is not ideal, but as I just getting through Wilbur here will be pretty good. And they'll still take their 10 damage from their venison. Ah, I fucked up. I don't have the... Oh no, I do have the board space. Silly me. So we do this.
私に続け。
背負い続ける。
Okay. They have a nice big board. They'll probably have to burn a removal on it, and if they don't, yeah, Unholy Vessel,
まだ果てじゃない。
and Serene Sanctuary.
痛いな。
Right, they're on, and they just die. Else we just roll 9 Valnarek. Wings of Desire to give it Storm, Super Revolt to make it an 8/8. We love seeing Havencroft actually have to take the 10 damage from Maddening Denizen. This is why I play Abysscraft in this meta.
違うね。
Because there's so often they're forced to like, oh, if I don't do this, I just die, but it just means aggro is fun, and it's like, it's a
お疲れ様でした。
very decent weakness of,
ぜひどうぞ。
Crest Haven, is like just their early board presence is deeply lacking. And like specifically, Abyss is pretty suited because of, even if it doesn't get that early kill, it can still gain advantage in the later game because it can consistently put out very annoying boards for Crest Haven to deal with. Specifically, Undead Soldier is very tricky for them to deal with because of how the ordering of crests and last words activate. So it's very hard for them to like actually remove the board, and then you've usually got 2 2/2s coming into their turn, and then you can buff them with Cerberus, or just get some damage in with Olivia, or all that, or just finish them off with things. And then usually, as I said, it's very easy to force, as an aggro, with an aggro plan, it's very easy to force them to use Maddening Benison before. Because the strat, in case you're aware, is Maddening Benison is a 2 play point spell that I'll watch on the stage screen, that gives them, that heals for 10, but gives you a crest with countdown 2, that when that countdown ends, you take 10 damage. So it's kind of like a neutral trade of a heal. Of course, in Crest Haven, there is a limit to 5 crest slots. You see the little circles in the corners there, where you got a little picture of Grimnir's face on the Havencroft side here at the bottom. And so the trick with Crest Haven is to have 5 crests, so that when you play Maddening Benison, you don't get the crest that causes the damage, and you just get the heal for 10. Well, the aggro, what Abysscraft can do is force them to play that Maddening Benison before they get the 5 crests. But if they don't heal up for that get that temporary heal, they lose anyway, because they can just take quite a lot of damage. And that's kind of like a very contentious part of Crest Haven, is this incredibly efficient heal. But obviously, if you force it out then it's not so much of a heal. It's just it's a temporary life gain. There is another thing, is like you can't get 2 of the same amulet. So if you play one Menacing Venison, you can then play another one. But you're still, like, even if you heal back up to 20, you're still taking 10 damage when that crest is eventually going to pop, and it will deal 10 damage to you. So you've just reduced, and it is very easy for Abyss to do 10 damage in a single turn, even without Super Evo. So that's why mid-range Abyss is pretty well suited for dealing with Crest Haven, and its aggressive playstyle also does well against Runecraft, which usually has to choose between healing or board clear, or setting up or fighting for board presence. whilst Abyss can pressure health and board at the same time.
スマホカードゲームシャドーバースワールズビヨンド進化絶血の継承者
But, like, sure, they could use all their
マナーを守って楽しくシャドバ。こんにちは。
all their resources to heal up all the damage you're doing, but then they're not dealing with the
ロビーの
board of stuff you have from your congregants of entwining, your undead soldiers, all that stuff.
他の人にしない言わない大切なのは思いやりほっその2個人情報のやり取りは
And it kind of comes out as a kind of
ブロック機
even match against Swordcraft.
その
Like, I think Swordcraft's slightly favored, but it's like you have to do a very awkward plan. Like, you might not be able to do be as aggressive against Swordcraft because a lot of Abysscraft's aggression costs them their own health,
画面の
and that can just put you within range for Swordcraft to just kill you, regardless of what type of Swordcraft they're playing.
その後私と
Like, especially Loot, which can do 12 damage from turn 7. They're lucky. So you do have to be careful against Swordcraft. That is a trickier matchup. Oh boy. There's one thing about the meta is a lot of the meta ends up being fucking Havencraft or a Modal Abyss. One of the advantages of not playing Modal Abyss is you don't get locked into the dreaded Modal Abyss mirror, where neither player can get ahead on board because you both end up with with decent healing and decent board control, and so neither player can actually get ahead and the game goes on forever. Whereas at least with mid-range versus Modal Abyss, either the mid-range deck kills the Modal Abyss before they go online, or the Modal Abyss gets online and outvalues the mid-range, and the mid-range doesn't have as much healing as the Modal Abyss deck, so the game eventually does end reasonably soon.
意志を紡ぐ糸を紡ぐ
Yeah, so like, yeah, hey, that's like, it is kind of like, it's like, it's, I'd say the moat is like, that's the problem, the one slight problem in the current meta, there's two mirror matches that can just take forever, and that's Modal Abyss versus Modal Abyss, or, well, I guess it's any combination of Modal Abyss and Cresthaven, really. Both of those decks have a lot of staying power, and not that many ways to close out a game against a constantly healing opponent. I'd say Crest Haven is probably a bit more favored against Modal Abyss because they have more efficient resources that just tick away, whilst Modal Abyss mostly deals with board presence, and Crest Abyss doesn't really care about its own board presence, so doesn't care about you like removing all their stuff. So Modal Abyss is kind of like forced to go, okay, I have to do a very complicated OTK setup that requires me drawing very specific cards. And I might not get that in time before I just get burned down by Crest Abyss's Marwyn effect. And what's the bracket we're going to do? So we're going Runecraft, so reasonably favoured matchup here.
気軽にフレンド申請しちゃいましょう
No, we have to hope for another against Cresthaven and Runecraft, like the Rune does have a few better ways of dealing with Abyss's early aggression, like Idolice. Ooh, we're on the big screen.
それでは楽しいシャドバライフ
So it's not as I'd say the matchup against Cresthaven is better for mid-range Abyss than it is for Runecraft. I'd still say I'm somewhat favored, but I do need to be careful. Was Haven Abyss always the meta in the game? I mean, it's only been like a month.
勘弁してよ戦闘なんて
Abyss is like reasonably... Okay, so we'll take a Soiree. I don't think I want Voila against Runecraft, but Soiree is always... Like, Haven wasn't really that meta until Cresthaven was introduced, I think. I don't think Ward or Storm were like they were decent enough decks. Since the beginning of the game, actually, no. Very early on aggro. So we're not really going to care about their early followers, because we're mostly just going to blow things up with our Agave later. On turn 5, so whatever board presence they make is kind of irrelevant here. Like, and they just 2-for-1 our singular card that we generated from another singular card, so it's like, eh. And then this time he goes, I just want to keep adding board pressure, so we're just going to... We could say Angrea on turn 4, that's fine, because we've got Aragave to deal with Anne, and put the pressure on. Okay, Version. Well, again, that's again still not too bad, because that's still dies to Aragave. And also means I don't have to worry about like trading Aragave in. So they've got early onions. Which is not too bad, but yeah, I'm just going to again keep pressure up. Evolve with the damage. Yeah, Aggro Abyss in the early meta was alright. Okay, there's Idolice. So can I draw cards that do things? I guess those do things. Well, if I guess I just go full aggro and completely ignore this Idolice. I got force them to use a heal next turn or die, basically. And like they can't even Norman heal because they so yeah, there's the Sage Lights to heal them up, which is fine. 2 Sage Lights, yeah, sure, whatever. Again, just pressure, pressure, pressure. Now that they've used 2 Sage Lights to heal, their actual remaining healing isn't that much. And even if they this goes down to 5, they don't have any Earth Runes in place, so they can't Norman, so their only defensive play is Kuon. And Kuon does nothing against Odin, so there's very little ways for them to win here. They need to be able to make multiple wards, and I don't think they can. I don't think Runecraft's capable of putting up more than 1 ward at a time, unless they Dimension Climb, but it's way too early for them to be able to do that. Yep, they're going to Kuon. Go on, give that storm, go on, trades. Well, they hit me for 4, I don't. They end their turn and they lose. Simply, kill your opponent first. Simply say, no, stop playing the game. Play a deck that can actually survive early game. There we have guaranteed 2 wins, which is always good. This means we're going to go against other people who have gone 2-0 so far, which means it's going to start getting tricky. Alright. Oh, this, I was about to say, oh, I wonder what this game is. No, this is a delayed version of the game I was just playing. Where I completely just very standard aggro game plan of what if I just keep hitting you? Yeah, their Dimension Climb was nowhere. They had 3 Sage Light teachings in hand. If it works, it works. And it sure does work.
100ちゃうんだから100ちゃうんだから知恵の火種オラオラいや知恵の火種
Probably is a bit narcissistic looking. Oh, wait a sec. I am narcissistic. Just watching my win go in. Like some people will say, "Oh, you're just playing your storm followers and going face." It's like, no, aggro is calculated. Like I would not have done this. Would not have done this play if they had Earth Sigils in play. I probably wouldn't have done. I might have still done this play. I might have gone for the wide board over the storm actually, because if they had Earth Sigils in play, then that would have they would have wanted to Norman, in which case the wider board is better. That means they can't clear it if they focus on healing with Norman. Because they don't have Earth Sigils in play, I know that their healing options are very limited. And because I had Odin and a Ghost, importantly I had Odin and a Ghost, so I knew that they weren't going to be able to heal out of my range, even if they did have that third Sage Light teaching. Also because if they used that third Sage Light teaching, it would have been reasonably unlikely that they weren't able to kill me. But like my lethal range here was 9 because I had a Ghost and an extra play point in hand. So even if they Sage Light or 4 from 5, and no, my lethal is 8. The Sage Light would have actually saved them. But again, they wouldn't. The chances were they weren't going to be able to Sage Light and remove my strong follower. Also, I would have just not gone. If they hadn't put wards in play, I wouldn't have played Odin. I'd have played my other cards in hand to blow. They basically have to do a lot to survive. There have to be like Sage Light, Stormy Blast, and then prep for a follow-up Norman turn with putting some Earth Roots down, which is possible, but unlikely. And it's like playing for that eventuality would have mostly just, you know, not let me secure. Would have like, it was better for me to push for a line that secured the win rather than wait for a fringe possibility that potentially gives my opponent room to breathe. So this isn't necessarily an aggro deck. This is mid-range Abyss. It's just it does have a decently aggro bent to it. It's quite reasonably flexible. It's not pure aggro, even though most of it is very aggro. Yeah, like, stuff like Congruent and Twining isn't very aggro. Neither is Supplicant or Undead Soldier, but they are just, like, very strong mid-rangey cards that kind of, like, help with the aggro, and is, like, the aggro level stuff like Beryl and Devious Lesser Mummy and Rage of Serpents all help towards just dealing with others before they, can really get their engines online, because that's currently what's a lot of the meta is decks that want to get their engines online, whether that's Modal Abyss or Cresthaven or even Runecraft kind of wants that, and just like it is just a deck that says whether it's through board pressure or straight up aggro mid-range Abyss just says, no, you are not having time to breathe. Because I know the moment you take a breath, you're going to do some absolute bullshit. It's like, no, we are not taking this game to turn 10. I mean, it can take the game to turn 10. It has a few decent ways to finish at turn 10 as well.
ロビーのマナーをお伝えしちゃいますよ。他の人にしない、言わない。大切なのは思いやりです。目です。怪しい人とはブロック機能ですよ。
And also, like, there is something to play. Some Haven decks are starting to run tech options. Like Crest Haven has started running. I think I have seen Crest Haven decks running Salafar, which they usually don't run because that's a very good that is a very good anti-aggro card because it heals you for 3 and deals 3 to the enemy board on a ward. Just generally very solid at like blunting the aggression. That's usually when I've seen that played, that's what's given me the most trouble against Crest Haven. Like I did have a match. I don't know if it was today. It was yesterday. There was I did my match in my Grand Prix finals against a Crest Haven deck that was running Salafar, and that came down pretty close to the wire. They literally got me down to 1 health before I managed to get them to die to their own Maddening Benison, which had extended twice. They'd used a Marwyn spell twice when it was out, so I was like, ugh, they're not dying yet, please. They even managed to use a second Benison, so they just got a heal 10 for free, but thankfully, I was able to just drop out roll 9 Valnarek and some damage to make up like 11 or so damage, and then the Edison finally popped and destroyed them. Judges, slow play around the table. They're only on turn 11. What is this? Yeah, I'm joking. I think people just get very impatient. But yeah, so there was some. I can't really show because I can't really look at cards whilst I'm in the tournament, but they did reveal balance changes, and they're mostly just a series of pretty decent buffs to Puppet Portal cards. Like they buff Liam, they buff Orcus, and they buff Cat Puppet, which might actually end up having a decent amount of effect on other Portal decks as well. They didn't buff Orcus, they buffed Zwei. Orcus doesn't really need a buff. He's plenty. People were crying for her to get nerfed in the first set. Okay. Match is done. They also buffed Dragon just a little bit by reducing the cost of Liufang. What are you up against? Havencraft again! Okay. I love Dragoncraft. I want to play more Dragoncraft, but I don't really care much for like standard ramp style Dragoncraft. Optics, I prefer more like aggressive variants, but right now. So I'll see what happens. I feel like the cost reduction for Liu Feng kind of favors aggro dragon more than it does like heavy ramp dragons with like Fenny and the like. So I think aggro dragon might actually get a bit popular because just like the cost reduction just means you can play other stuff alongside her more often, or you can just play her as a generic body and it's not too much of a loss.
勘弁してよ
Okay,
戦闘なんて
we will keep
ゲームでし
barrel
ょ
and nothing else.
楽しまないと。
Get
一
that
肌脱いで
痛いな
あげる。
fast barrel out. Then we just need to add more board, more pressure.
ブスッと。
Okay, I get to kill my barrel, but my barrel got to swing at least once. But that's fine. We get to develop a zombie at the very least. Grim now. Okay, what's my best play? Probably
一肌脱いであげる。
again just make
あ切れる
a
な
kind of threatening board for their
現実ってひどすぎない。悪夢をどうぞ。嘘でしょ。
soiree, play another skeleton down. This basically, we're trying to delay their Marwyn at the very least. Okay, blinding face, whatever. Okay, and then we. It's another zombie, a devious mummy, evolved pressure.
僕以下の存在
I'm an adult, which means I can go off and make a quesadilla for lunch. Nice. And just keep pushing damage. And, like, this is a nicely strong board against Marwyn, because he can't deal with everything unless he's incredibly lucky with his torrent play, even though it doesn't deal with everything. Okay. And we just kill them. Simply.
こういうこともあるよね。
Is he judging by the time they're eating this more like dinner? Hey, what is?
違うね僕は永遠だ
It's as simple as that, ladies and gentlemen, and others.
個人情報のやり取りは目です。ほっ怪しい人
And other sovereigns. I forgot to bring the bricks. Yeah. Again, it is just like they just can't deal with. They just have a very bad time with ghosts. Like blinding faith is okay, but it also doesn't heal and put up a board pressure. So if they have stuff like rotting zombie in play, it doesn't do that much. And like, really, as long as you have at least like 3 followers on the board, Marwyn just has a sad time because he suddenly becomes a lot less reliable at dealing with anything on the board. You have to remember, if Marwyn has to swing to deal with something, then the crest isn't activating, because it only activates when they haven't attacked. Like, again, forcing them to trade can often be quite... This is why one of the things I think the Zwei buff is for Portal is actually going to be, like, a generally good change, because it suddenly catapults her from an okay card to a card that can deal with a lot of the current, like, problem early game turns that Portal kind of struggles to deal with, especially stuff like Egg Portal. Artifact Portal less so, but then... that might... I don't know if Artifact Portal is going to be salvaged by buffs and nerfs. I think Artifact Portal just needs new cards more than anything. Like, so you can see in this mirror that, like, they had a very poor turn against Mo, and also this Hidden God player has not drawn their stuff, and they don't get to activate the crest to draw a card, so this is just a bad time, as one Havencraft player is generally outperforming the other. The bottom one here does have a slightly awkward turn. It's like they're probably debating on if they want to use the Blinding Faith this turn, the Torrent of Despair this turn. They are. That means they get to push 3 damage and not have to attack this turn. Meanwhile, the top one is just not having a good time. They don't have Marwyn, they don't have any real way. Okay, so now they've drawn Marwyn, but it's a bit late. They just get to develop Wilbur. The question is, they're not super evolving, I guess because they don't want to. There's regular evolving and probably just leaving that there to let the rest deal with the board. But yeah, they do get to Blinding Faith the Wilbur. I'm not entirely sure if it was worth letting the stuff survive, because now they're starting to swing it around. That's a very decent swing turn. This deck is running Aether though. I don't know if Aether really does much here. Like they can board clear. Because Aether Super Evo means that it does the Grimnir swipe first and then the Marwyn swipe because of the product crest. So that does board clear and presented results, but then the other deck does just have Unholy Vessel to just blow up the entire board. Ooh, and then sets up 5 crests. Oh. This is an interesting choice to have the Aether package in the Crest Haven. Like, it does work in case of like building up a wall to stop your opponent from swinging in. But unfortunately, in the mirror, it's not so great because it means the other Haven Craft player just fucking blows up your fancy board with cups. Really? I guess they didn't want to. Blows up your board with mind. In this case, it's from the Unholy Chalice. The Grail itself. Yeah, this is the problem with Aether in a deck that isn't fully supported. It doesn't quite reach the whole lot. You gonna burn a Super Evo on that? Really? No, it's not worth it. I only just wanted to feel good, like, well. Yeah, I'll just pop another Marwyn body out there. Yeah, to have the Torrent there in hand. Okay. They can. They want to set up. They don't want to burn the Super Evo setting up Congregants. Fresh, though, is the question. Are they just going to play a wide board and let the crests steal the board? Yeah, very, very passive play here so far. But like, I feel like the red player's turn is just doing so much better in terms of keep just resources. That they're going to, in this current battle of attrition, they are generally going to Tries to super evolve.
やれるのは己だけ。
It does push another 2 damage. Gary is here. They can banish the Wilbert. And possibly pivot to Jerry. They are pivoting to Jerry. It's Jerry time. This isn't a bad idea when you're so low on resources, really. They're not really trying to win with the victory card. They're trying to just have Jerry as a source of gas, really. Yeah, I wouldn't have popped the amulet there. You're not going to reach the bottom of your deck. This game is going to end before that. Like, Jerry was still the... Getting the Jerry deck was still the right turn, because that means you have 6 cards per turn to do whatever you need to do to win your opponent, and it's a crest. So even if you don't get any more Crest Haven cards, they have 4 permanent crests, but I think they might be fucked. Like, they need to put out a reasonably large board. What is this play? That's not healing. You're going to die. They literally just need any follower and they can kill you now. I guess Congress of Disdain doesn't really help them there, but still, You do not make... You know, like, it doesn't... It really... Yeah, no. They really wanted some healing there. I don't think there was many ways they could get through that. No, yeah, it's over. Very anticlimactic seeing that play out in the fucking... simple view. Just like, dunk! It's over. Doesn't have the visual effect to it or anything. I'm still waiting for this game to go. Simple view is perfect for us. It is like... Like I said, it's a very handy thing that you do have that kind of spectating option. Not this one. This one might be ending soon, please. I like this fucking, like... I should read... I feel like I need to at least be able to read some Japanese just so I can read some people's usernames here, because I gotta understand, well, what funny joke do you have here, oh completely blank slate mystery person?
Shadowverse.
I must know what your name says.
人は栄光を望んだ。人は繁栄を願った。試練が与えられた。愚かにも抗う者よ。知るがいい。我が意志を継ぐ者。我らこそが福音なる者。十火鉄血。その継承者である。次世代スマホカードゲーム。
Okay, it's over. Finals time!
新カードパック。絶血の継承。
There's another Havencraft! Wasn't that the person we just saw?
試練はまだ終わらない。
Was the person we just saw win, so we know they're running a fairly, We know that they're running a fairly standard, Crest Haven list, looking by what we saw of their deck in that match. This is the disadvantage of being put up on the big screen, but then everyone knows I'm running Mid-Range Abyss, so... The thing with playing Mid-Range Abyss is everyone instantly knows what kind of deck you're running, because the two meta versions of Abyss, Modal Abyss and Midrange. And the thing is, Shamnatcha, whether you have, if you have her or not, will instantly tell your opponent what deck you're playing. Because if they don't have Shamnatcha, it's midrange. If they do have Shamnatcha, it's modal. Okay, so we're going second, so we would love to see Beryl. Thank you. Do I keep a Supplicant? I think I do keep a Supplicant in my opening hand in turn second. This is such a bold. Okay, so they've got a good start. The turn 1 Serene Sanctuary. We've got Cerberus for finishing things up. That is a house. Not the version of Serene Sanctuary that has a yeah, they do have Devotee of Repose though. That is the problem. I'm gonna do this. They've actually got a decent start against us because they've got Devotee. Okay, they're not playing another one, which means we do get to just plink this off with Luella and do another. This is why I didn't use up the damage last time. I thought it was better to just go aggressively. Okay, turn 4. What are they gonna do turn 4? Dose of Holiness, my I'm just sure. We mostly just want to use a Supplicant to play a 4/4. Might as well heal up. Evolve Vuela for some pressure, and again, just make their because they really want to. Okay, Congregant of Repose. That's fine. Can we just keep applying pressure? Like, they can. This is not a. They can Marlin us here. But that's not too bad. I'll just Oh, they're Wilberting. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Nice Wilbert, idiot. Guess what I got? Knock them down to 1. Right. They're just in a sad position now. Yeah, I win even if they have to heal a lot. They basically have to Maddening Menace. I guess I don't actually have. I have 5 damage in hand right now. If they heal and put a board in play, then obviously that does not save you. Yep. Okay. There's the Maddening Venison. And the Temple of Repose. Okay, so they have Barrier, which is fine. Well, since they have Barrier, I might as well just pressure them with the Undead Soldier. Yeah, from the 1 Super Evolve damage. Like, I could burn a Super Evolve here, but I think I want to save the Super Evolve for Cerberus next turn. Because what they need to play Marwyn here. Like, that's the... They are not... They are not extending the Benison. Oh, now we get to have my favorite win of all time. Oh, hang on, I fucked up. It's okay. I forgot he gains wards, but it's whatever. I actually slightly fucked up there, but now we get to see the Benison pop kill! What a way to get our 4-0.
違うね。僕は永遠だ。
What I should have done is just played Cerberus first. I forgot he got ward off that. I'm not attacking. Oh, we get to what was that? That is 4-0. That was the final. That was the champions match.
救えはしない俺も誰も来るな無駄だ
You love to see. You love to see just Wilbur into Odin, just like. This is why I don't really care about playing Haven, because there's so many ways you just feel completely fucking miserable. I could probably reevaluate to see if there was a way I could kill the previous turn. Because they benison to... How high did they benison to like 13, was it? Oh yeah, because the Temple of Repose. They had 13 and then Barrier. And the Benison, the thing is, I don't want to overcommit damage when the Benison isn't about to pop. Because if they keep extending the Benison, then they can, like, start negating my damage. I only need to care about... Once they activate Benison, the only damage that matters is the damage that happens the turn before the Benison pops, basically. So, like, I didn't have... I could have super evolved... So whilst I could have done the, whilst I could have done the, super evolve previous turn to pop Barrier and then done another 7 damage, if they had Blinding Faith that previous turn, I would have gone like, oh, I'm not killing them this turn and now I don't have super evolve to deal with whatever they've got in play. And... I was like, well, no, I want to keep my super evolve because I have Cerberus in hand, which can represent more damage than just super evolving for a single point for getting that through. So much less cool. That's another 4-0 under the belt. I'm pretty good at this game, don't you know? Every time I tune in, it's a 4-0. That's good. I have definitely gotten... I don't think I think I've gotten like I've never had I've never had a 0-4. But I've definitely had I've had 1-1-3 I think, and the worst I do is 2-2. So the worst you do is average. I think that's pretty good. 1-1-3 is a surprising score. That would be interesting. I think I don't know if I've gotten more. But yeah, I've got a decent number of 4-0s under my belt. I feel quite proud of that. And these people are taking fucking forever. What are you? What are you? The emissary. What are you playing? The emissary? What are you? Dragoncraft versus Abysscraft. Wow. Actually went 2-1-2 on the first MTG. Oh, nice. I'm no good at like pre-release format craft stuff. God, what the fuck is happening with Magic the Gathering, man?
楽しいシャドバラを
Like, holy shit, that fucking set release schedule. SpongeBob happened ages ago. SpongeBob happened. It's getting worse.
Yep.
There's an entire secret lair dedicated to Dwight from The Office. Like, not The Office show as a whole, just one character from The Office, the one that's in, admittedly the one that's in most of the memes, but, still. It's like, oh, we're doing a Office collab, and people are like, wow, is it gonna have the guy who goes, no! God, please, no! No! It's this other guy who says silly things. I don't know. I've never watched The Office. I have watched a couple of episodes of a long, long time ago, of the original BBC Office. The one with Ricky Gervais in it. And everyone's forgotten about it, because nobody likes Ricky Gervais anymore. So whenever someone talks about The Office, they're usually talking about the American one. I don't know if it's actually funnier or not. I've not watched it. I know the BBC one was pretty funny, but I don't want to see Ricky Gervais, so fuck it.
マナーを守って楽しくシャドバ
I will not decide to watch The Office for
今日は私がロビーのマナーを
recreational purposes. But no, there's just like more fucking shit. There's Star Trek coming up, there's
他の人
all kinds of shit, and it's just like, man. And they're like, wait, no! We're going back to Lorwyn for a sec. Aren't you excited about Lorwyn? And like, if they weren't doing so many cash grabs, if it wasn't the state it was in, I would be excited for going back to Lorwyn. Lorwyn is a cool as hell plane. And they actually haven't been there. It's one of the cool as hell planes they haven't actually been back to in a while. But in this case, it just comes across as desperate
その4
to try and like keep people in who are tired of all the fucking crossovers and all the shit they're doing to all the other planes. Or revisiting Ravnica for the 5 millionth time. Anyway, time to show everyone to see that I am the best, I am the
結
strongest.
果発表いたし
I
ます
deserve a pat on the head.
激闘を制した優勝者は
That's me!
おめでとうございますお疲れ様でした
I'll say this is Eldraine.
またのご参加を
I think most people dropped out of Eldraine OG, not because it was like, it was a fun setting, but God, some of the cards in Eldraine, in the original Eldraine set were like, what the fuck? Why did you print Oko? There was so much nonsense shit in there, and then there's continuing all stuff. Gotta go back to the home menu. Collect my stuff. On my crate. Oh, next time I am winning. All this stuff. Just got 4-0, which means I get lots of stuff. Ooh, I've completed some feats. Oh, I've won 30 weekend lobby tournament matches. Ah, so that was my third 4-0. Apparently. I will take that. Ooh, we can do a 10 pull. Ooh. First? Well, I don't have anything I need to. So, when I'm with rupees, rather than buying Heirs of Omen packs, so there's not that much. Actually, I should check, because I do kind of want to make a Dragoncraft deck. I don't know if I have Dragoncraft cards. What cards am I missing? Because I know I at least need Galamo. I was like, could I just craft Galamos? Like, Galamo's in every Dragoncraft deck, so I very least need... So what Dragoncraft legendaries do I have? I need... I've actually already got 2 Galamos, so actually I'd rather... I need Phylines and Fortes. Phylines are from the set I don't really want to... Could draw from... But I think it's still better for me to draw from Legends Rise, because then I might get additional Forte copies, which would be nice for the kind of dragon deck I want to play. And also I really want... I'm very close to a Lucky Chest, but I'm not going to buy it. But I want Cerberus. I want to have Pretty Lady Abysscraft Leader. So... And we're not getting that for at least another set, so fuck it. Let's get a bunch of vials. Maybe we'll get Cerberus. Oh. No, okay, 2 legendaries, but or more. Might be more than 1 in the pack. But no leader cards. Did go. Oh. Nope, that's vials. I already have 3 of those. This is most likely gonna get me vials. If it gets me stuff like the legendary we want to see, it's Forte. You're not Forte, you're Vials. Okay, I'll take Vials. Yum, 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 yum. And use amount of gold, so this is a decent value of stuff. So I don't bother saving tickets. You get tickets fairly slowly. Oh, it's a blood pack, doesn't matter. Who cares? But yeah, lots of vials regardless. We'll have to see, because so yeah, I guess I can. Now we get. I do want to kind of like somewhat talk about. So they announced some buffs to some of the cards, and they're kind of interesting buffs because like people are expecting them to nerf stuff like Runecraft, like possibly hitting stuff like Norman to cut down on Runecraft's on spell boost Runecraft ability to heal. Or version so that they have to actually dedicate to more spell boost, or just making stuff like Dimension Climb more expensive. But they do have to dedicate more to spell boost. But like that can be like nerf. I didn't mean to back out the cards menu. That can be kind of difficult because then you have to realize, right, if we nerf these cards, does this deck still exist in the meta? And some people might like, oh, just eliminate the card from the meta. We don't want to see it. You don't want to see the card in the meta, but you have to kind of like remember that a meta is kind of like an ecosystem. If you take something out, then other things are going to move in to take the place, and is that going to result in a more diverse meta or a less diverse meta? Because currently the meta is actually quite diverse. There's only Portalcraft is really having a hard time, and even then it's still like doing alright. There's like, okay, if we effectively remove Spell Boost Rune, then what does Runecraft get to do? And the answer is probably not a whole lot. Because Truth Rune isn't really enough to make its own to be a deck yet. And like it lacks a way to like actually finish games really. And Earthright Rune also is a bit too slow and doesn't really compete with a lot of things. So, and does have a very poor matchup against Cresthaven. So you run the risk of Cresthaven if you nerf Spell Boost Rune, it becomes too much of a nerf. Because even when you're dealing with nerfs and reducing power, even a small change can be quite dramatic. Especially in a card game. So you do have to worry too much about, right, okay, does that mean, if we do that, does that mean that, Havencraft is too strong? And it's like, well, if, Havencraft is... And the question is, like, okay, then nerf Crest Havencraft. And then you think, well, how do you nerf Crest Havencraft? What are the answers to there? And it's like, it's not really... It's hard to decide what you'd nerf about Crest Haven. Like, none of its individual cards stand out as incredibly... Like, you could slightly nerf Marwyn's stats, maybe, but not really. Right, just in case I'm missing anything. Yeah, I think at least one of everything. I don't know if Congregant. Nerf like stuff Congregant, and then it's like, are these actually going to work out? Do you nerf Wilbur, but then if you nerf Wilbur, then you close up space for making more ward dedicated decks a thing. And again, if you nerf a deck to non-existence, then you're like, well, what's Havencraft doing at all? And then the answer is again very little. So you just end up with a situation where you have one class that's not being played at all because its only viable deck type really got nerfed. And then what can then flourish and fill in that gap can be might be even worse. You might end up shrinking the meta further. That's why I think it's usually a far more delicate option to go with buffing some underperforming classes that could kind of like shake things up a bit more. And like the big one is to do with Zwei here. She's going to get... So the change they're adding to Zwei is they're adding an evolve effect onto her. So currently she's a fairly solid card. She's like 5 play point for a 3/3 and summons Victoria, which is a 6/1 rush that, when striking enemy follower, deals damage equal to her attack. So it's basically... So she gets to basically swing at the enemy follower before she actually makes contact, which makes her very good at efficiently trading. She can either... Anything with 6 or less health is going to... is going to be destroyed before it gets a chance to hit her back, so she gets to stick around. And also means she can trade up very high value, so she can trade up to things. She can just take out things that are like up to 12 attack, even more if you evolve her, because then of course the stats still carry over and all that. That is based on her current attack. So if you evolve her and she's an 8/8, that will mean she can take up things. Obviously increases the things. Remember, it's only followers, so it's not going to, he doesn't hit your opponent twice in the face, so, because that would be a bit nuts. But she also gives, whenever a puppetry follower enters the field, it gives her what? And obviously Victoria's a puppet, all your usual puppets are puppets, does it? Doesn't actually show all the puppets here. She could hit me twice in the face if you want to. Of course you'd say that, Pidge. And what they're doing is they're adding an evolve effect to her that summons an enhanced puppet, which is that summons an enhanced puppet around here. One of these, which if you're not familiar with the game, it's a 1/3. It's a 3/3 rush with and if your opponent's turn destroy this card. Standard puppet fare, but it's the big one, a big puppet, and that suddenly takes away from a card that you're usually just using to take out a single card with a without outspending an evo point, to a card that can also take out wider boards. Because not only does the enhanced puppet have rush, but you're also evolving Zwei, so you've got a 5/5 evolved follower. And also, because she gives that ward, if the enhanced puppet survives whatever it hits to, which can be quite likely, especially if you're hitting small things, like the big example being the 2/2 knight, the buffed 2/2 knights from Zirconia's board. Zwei actually deals with Zirconia incredibly neatly, because Zwei and the puppet take out 2 knights, Victoria takes out Zirconia herself for free. So that helps push back against Swordcraft as one of the dominant meta decks of Swordcraft. It also presents an annoying board for Havencraft. It's when you've got 3 targets on the board, it's hard for Marwyn to them to do okay, I'll evolve Marwyn and play the random banish, because then you're not entirely sure if you'll get the right targets. The random banish could hit the puppet, which would be a waste. And then Marwyn might have to trade into the enemy Victoria, which case he dies and you still have a Zwei on board. So it does present them with very difficult options. And just generally makes the card able to do so. That's why I think Zwei might actually see play in like more than just Puppet Portal. I think that will make Zwei a more staple mid-range control card. I think maybe not Artifact. I think Artifact's going to still struggle. I don't think Artifact's going to be affected much by these buffs because I don't think I think Artifact just needs new cards rather than any buffs or nerfs. Really, it just needs some more kind of support. I don't know what that support would be. I'm not the game designer, but I was like, buffing any of individual card will either make it too strong or won't really help it out much. And then other buffs. This one's more of just a direct Puppet Portal buff because you won't really play him. They're turning Liam from a 10 play point 88 to a 9 play point 77. Basically just means Puppet can kill you quicker. It gives you access to a very much neater finish at because at 10 play points he's kind of clunky, it's kind of hard to do, and like it's only 8 damage, maybe 9 with Super Evo, and it costs an Evo to really get the damage out. You need to be able to. On his own, he's only 6 damage, maybe 7 with 7 with Super Evo, whilst at 9 play points, that becomes a lot more of a reasonable trade, and like again, you can get puppets out for you can get it out sooner, and this can be the difference between your opponent getting a chance to heal up after your previous aggression with Orcus and the like, and actually getting to just finish them off with Liam. It's like he's important because he's Puppet's main way of killing opponents past wards, deals direct damage to the enemy face. Also the fact that he makes them into wards and provide just a dangerous board state for your opponent to deal with as well. Like the last Portal specific buff is Puppet Cat. This is a card that hasn't really seen any kind of play really. It's a 2 play point 2/2. If there's a super evolved allied follower on the field, add a puppet to your hand and give it +3/+0. So like if you can get that effect off, that's fairly strong because adding a puppet with 4 attack is very strong when combined with Orcus. It's not only very good for trading, but Orcus can make it basically turns that into 4 damage, which can be good. The problem is at 2 play points for just a vanilla 2/2, it's usually not particularly worth the situation of things. You're not going to be able to play it alongside a lot of your super evolved followers at that cost anyway. So what they're doing is they're making it into a 1 play point 1/1 and also giving it rush, which is important. Very important that it gets rush. So that makes it useful not only for slotting aside cards, but what it means you can do then is also if you're like on turn 9 and you're playing Orcus, you can play Orcus, super evolve it, then play the Puppet Cat and bunk the Puppet Cat into something to free the board space, and then go face with all your puppets. And that's 11 damage. So that opens up. Whereas previously, you wouldn't be able to do that because you'd have to wait until... you'd have to wait until you have 10 play points because you wouldn't be able to play the Puppet Cat alongside. And also, you wouldn't be able to get rid of the Puppet Cat that's on your board because it doesn't have Rush. It doesn't have it doesn't have Rush or Storm or anything. So that's a very important change. It could also mean it sees play in other decks. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like if Egg Portal wanted a 1/1 that badly, it would just be running like it would already be running Twin Blade Goblin. I don't think like I think in Egg Portal like they'd basically roll up as kind of the same effect really. Maybe if you're running if you are running Orcus in your egg portal, you might run Puppet Cat as well as an option. But yeah, so I think Puppet. You'll definitely see a lot of people playing Puppet Portal directly, just as a result of the boss, because that's the main thing that's gotten buffed. But I think we'll also see a trend of Egg Portal. I'll definitely be trying like Egg Portal with Zwei, and then maybe adding Orcus and Puppet Cat if there's space for them. Because then that just adds, like, I don't know if Orcus is really worth putting in Egg Portal, because again, you're fighting for board space. You do get to still, like, if you're just getting Lloyd out and not really bothered about the Super Evo, it's not that bad. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'll experiment with it. And the last change they're making, these will go live on Monday or Tuesday, I don't know, is they are taking Liu Feng, Golden Note Ward, and they are making her a 3-cost. No changes to the stats, so she's still a 3-3, but she'll be a 3-play point 3-3 with all the other same effects. And I think that mainly makes a difference for more aggressive Dragoncraft variants. It means that she's less of a tempo loss to be played, because then you can just play her, like, be like, okay, I can play her as a vanilla 3-3, and that's still a solid body. That still works out pretty well. And you can play, it means on your turns when you evolve her to thing. 3, 4. Well, this is a 3. It will be a 3-3-3-3 with text as good. But yeah, still generally solid means that she's, as I said, more flexible to play. As I said, not going to make that much difference in more rampy decks. Especially because she still becomes 2-cost under Fenny, because the costs round up, so 3 halved still becomes 2. But it means you can play more cards alongside her, especially like if you've ramped on 3 and then you could then play her and like a 2-cost spell like Devotee or Searing Fire New or Phylene. All very good, or Nation of Disdain, if you're running a Disdain deck. And then when it comes to later turns, she becomes... When you're in Overflow, then you can play her again a lot more flexibly with other cards. Stuff like Raging Lightning for board clear, or Golden Note Melody for card draw. Just a lot of Ocean Rider for board presence. All these kinds of... just opens up a lot more, because there's like a lot of these become, you can do something like, okay, I have 6 play points, I Liu Feng evolve, then I get to play Ocean Rider with Overflow effects. So that kind of like opens up a lot of generally good and useful effects to that. And again, definitely feel like something that's more, as I've said it too many times, it's definitely something that affects more aggressive dragon variants. Because it means you get to play earlier and you just have more option. I am too tired for doing those ones, so I kind of want to like somewhat theorycraft a proposed aggressive Dragoncraft deck. I don't know if I'll actually play Dragoncraft until I get the fucking leader, so like... You kind of want like a mid-rangey aggro card. They definitely want a fan of Otohime or 2. Ferocious Flame is a really good removal, so we definitely want that. We are going for kind of like ramp adjacent ones. On Dragon Sign, and we do Bang. So yeah, the rest of it really comes down to how much you want. Ocean Riders are really solid. We're going for more aggressive than I guess. Ocean Rider. We'll think about Bucket One later if I space for it. Maybe Devotee. We'll see. What do you do? Oh, Eileen's just a good call. The Melancholy Orca is really good. Nation's game maybe. Searing Fire needs have an impressive. Is Gillenny's maybe? I'll think about it. AFL, fairly good. Ryan maybe, I'll say. Depends how aggressive we're going. Seasoned Merman, very good. Galamo will definitely want 3 Galamos. 3 Fortes, I think that's a given. And 3 Odins, why the fuck not? Not actually that much. Yeah, could be Garyu as well. So just, yeah, kind of like that kind of stuff. So maybe we take out some... Maybe we do take out Fan of Otahime. I don't really see that much use because then I can fit stuff like... I think just 2... I don't think we want full Genesis... or a full set of Genesis Dragon Reborns, but I definitely think I want at least 1 or 2, and then maybe like 2 Warriors of the Deep. And yeah, that's just like a really simple... I don't know how well this performs, and it's hard to test it because I don't have... It really would need to have the full Yamamos and the full Fortes. But yeah, otherwise just a fairly solid... We don't really want Neptune because we're not too worried about things. But then like, nah. Yeah, if I had more, I would consider more Phylines, but I don't think it's necessary. Like, maybe more Phylines over Searing Dragon or Aethias. Aethia always has to. Maybe is not entirely sure about Warrior of the Deep, but it's funny. Funny Shark Man. You want to have at least one funny Shark Man, I feel. And 1 Genesis Dragon as a big finisher. Save that. This is basically getting preparation because the next battle pass they're adding a Dragoncraft leader that's actually what I want. Life wouldn't be the same without Funny Shark Man. It's true. He's a 6/6 that deals 6. He's the Demon Shark Man, the 6/6/6. But yeah, the next battle pass is a leader is a crazy dragon girl with a crush on Kaori, so yeah, sure, fuck it. Give it, I'll shell that money. I haven't bought this one. I don't give a shit about fucking Keith. Or the Devastating Soprano alt art, really. Like, the base art of the card is nice enough already. I don't feel like I want to shell out money just to have Lyshenna with her legs out. But the alt art in the next battle pass, I feel like I'm doing too much advertising it right now, but I've started, so I started, is an alt art of Supplicant of Entwining. The hot replaces this pretty boy with a hot lady, so finally a battle pass. I give it. I bought the fucking Neo battle pass. It was like, it gets me a good amount of stuff, and I'd rather play a femboy twink than a big monster. And then the story came out, and aren't spoilers. The big monster is actually quite nice, but it's still. Right, I would usually keep playing, but I think I'm going to keep it short because I have a splitting fucking headache that's approached right now. So I think I'm just going to keep this stream short and call it for today. Because I was just like, just as I was thinking, do I want to keep going? My brain just went, it is time for intense pain. So... yeah, I think rather than taking a break and coming back, I think it'd be better just to call it a day, and I'm gonna go have take some paracetamol, lie down. I think that will be the best for everything. It'll be streaming next week. I need to figure out what I'm doing in the Galarian's Ashlar, because I've got a plan for. Maybe I'll start my plan for October sooner, but I might not. I need to think if I've just got something I can play in the in that slot that's like a one-off to find some kind of retro game I can play in a single stream quickly or something like that. September. But yeah, I've got a plan of what I'm going to be streaming for in October, so that'll be fun. But yeah. But yeah, for this week, I'm done. Sorry for cutting it a bit short, but brain hurty. It's like the fucking. It goes out to Steam and it shows me the fucking launch date for Code Vein 2, and it's just got the big fucking mysterious hot lady with the huge boobs. I'm like, yep, you don't need to sell me on this game anymore. I'm going to buy Code Vein 2. I owe too much to the original Code Vein, and they have confirmed it does have card creation. But yeah, there's some mysterious tall floating lady with huge boobs. So I'm like, yep. But yeah, I was a big fan of Code Vein. Well, I am very excited. It's January 30th. Wow. That's not that far away at all. Who is online to raid? Gotta find a person to raid. Please don't give me any suggestions. I know sometimes people take that as an invitation to... Oh, I know. Well... Not often I get a chance. I get to raid the wife! Who's doing Super Turbo practice. So yeah, I'll see you all next week. I'm going to go have a lie down. Go say hi to the lovely eyes. Bye!